Welcome to The Way of Creative Wisdom, a podcast where we explore the intersection of ancient insights, creative design, and transformative innovation. In a world driven by artificial intelligence, it's easy to feel lost in a sea of information. We're here to help you navigate these complexities by drawing on the enduring wisdom of the past and applying it to the challenges of the present. Each episode will offer a unique blend of pragmatic, philosophical ideas, designer stories, and practical approaches to help you unlock your creative potential and make a meaningful impact in the world. Tune in every week as we uncover the transformative power of creative wisdom together.
Ever feel like, I don't know, like the world's problems are just getting so huge,
Yeah.
like too much, like we need a whole new playbook. Yeah, exactly. Well, you're not alone. And actually, you listening right now, you've sent us a ton of sources on how like design thinking is kind of changing, videos, articles. We even got a whole certification program someone sent.
Wow.
And it seems like maybe designers are actually like rewriting that playbook as we speak.
It's fascinating, this whole shift.
Right.
Like we've been talking about human-centered design for so long.
Right.
But this goes way beyond that into humanity-centered design.
Okay, yeah.
It's a really different way of thinking about problem solving.
And the NN Group video, 21st Century Design, really, I think, hits that nail on the head.
Yeah,
like the speaker in that video basically says, most designers are stuck using like old methods, like really outdated, more focused on making things, look pretty than actually like tackling the big, messy problem.
Yeah, exactly. And that's where service design comes in, right?
Yeah.
It's not just about the product.
Right.
It's about the entire experience surrounding it.
Okay, so then how is that different from traditional, like, human-centered design?
So think about it this way. Human-centered design, HCD, right?
Yeah.
Really kind of took off in the 1980s.
Okay.
It was all about understanding that individual user. What do they need?
Right.
And then how do we create products and services that they find intuitive, that are enjoyable to use?
Okay, so like my IKEA bookshelf. Affordable, easy to assemble.
There you go.
It works. There's definitely a real art to that, right?
Absolutely. IKEA is a perfect example.
Yeah.
Good design, but accessible.
Yeah.
And this comes up in a lot of the sources you sent, that really tight focus on just the individual. It kind of ignored some other consequences,
And
right?
we're talking about like the environmental impact. And
The environment, social issues, yeah.
social issues.
Exactly. So you have these amazing user experiences, but it contributed to this consumerism.
Oh, interesting.
And in some cases, even made existing inequalities worse.
Wow. Okay.
So we realize, okay, we've got to evolve here. We need humanity-centered design.
HCD 2.0. It's like design, but with a conscience.
Yes.
So where do we even begin? How do we unpack this whole thing?
Well, Don Orman's a great place to start. He's a leading voice in the design world. And his work, like that Design for a Better World article you sent, he lays out these 5 key principles of humanity-centered design.
Okay, so what's different? What are these principles?
Well, the first one is huge, shifting our focus
Okay.
from just the individual to the entire ecosystem.
Wow, the whole.
The whole thing. So
Yeah.
that's people, living things, the environment. It's about how interconnected it all is.
So it's not just about making a product that's convenient for me. It's about understanding how that product impacts like the world around me, the people around me.
Exactly. It's thinking bigger. And then the second principle is about digging deeper,
Okay.
solving the root cause, not just the symptom.
Oh, okay. I'm starting to see how this is different. This is like a whole different way of thinking about design.
It completely is. And it needs that long-term perspective, which is actually his third principle. So, designing for durability for future generations, thinking about the long-term impacts of our choices.
So no more designing something that's going to be obsolete or irrelevant or like break in a year.
Exactly. And it's not about just like, okay, here's the solution, we're done.
Right.
His fourth principle is you're always testing, always refining, making sure that design actually meets those needs.
So it's an ongoing process. You're constantly kind of like evolving and adapting.
Exactly. Which brings us to the fifth, and this might be the most crucial. Designing with the community, not for them.
Collaboration is key.
It is absolutely key, involving the people who are most affected by the problem in the design process itself.
Because they have the insights.
They have the lived experience, yeah.
Okay, so those are the 5 principles. But like, how does this actually look in the real world?
Right.
Are there companies actually doing this?
Oh, yeah, tons. And we're not just talking about these tiny little startups. We're talking big companies.
Okay.
Walmart, Unilever. They're starting to implement these things.
Okay, no, this is getting interesting. What are they doing? Give me some examples. Like, how are they actually doing this?
Well, take, like, Native, the deodorant.
Okay.
They completely redid their packaging to be plastic-free.
Oh, wow.
And then there's Ridwell. They tackle that problem of stuff that's hard to recycle.
Yeah.
Like, they create a whole system for collecting and then processing responsibly all those things that usually wouldn't get recycled.
So they're thinking about the whole life cycle of the product, right?
Right.
From creation to disposal. That's so smart. Are there other industries doing this?
Oh, yeah. Air Company. They make vodka
Okay.
and other spirits,
Okay.
but they use captured carbon emissions. It's carbon negative.
Wow.
Yeah. And then Outland Denim. They're all about ethical employment, good working conditions in their factories,
Right.
but they make really awesome, durable jeans.
So it's like they're proving that, like, sustainability being ethical, that doesn't have to clash with making something people actually want.
Exactly.
Right.
It can be desirable and good.
Yeah. What I'm hearing is it's not just about, like, tweaking a product that exists or just being like, oh, and it's eco-friendly, like slapping a label on it.
It's deeper.
It's got to be, like, the whole business model has to shift.
Yes, 100%. And one of the biggest changes, moving away from that traditional model of, like, I own this thing, towards more service subscription-based models.
Okay, so tell me more about that. What does that look like?
So it's about having access instead of owning.
Okay.
So say you want a whole wardrobe of clothes, right? Instead of buying all that, you use a service like Armoire.
Okay.
You borrow the clothes, you return them when you're done.
Okay.
Less waste, clothes stay in circulation longer.
So it's like a rotating wardrobe.
Exactly.
That's so cool. And sustainable and probably very stylish. What other examples are there?
There's Loop. They partner with brands like even Walmart.
Oh, wow.
They offer products, but in packaging that you can reuse.
Yeah.
Durable.
Okay.
You finish your product, send the packaging back, they sanitize it, reuse it.
Oh, that's so smart.
No more single-use packaging.
These are great examples.
Okay.
It's so cool how you can use design thinking to literally reimagine the whole business.
Yeah.
It feels like a win-win too, right? Good for the planet, but a lot of times even more convenient for the customer.
Absolutely.
But how do we get more companies to think this way?
Yeah.
Because that seems like a huge shift.
It's a big shift for businesses, but even consumers have to shift their mindset.
Yeah, that's true.
But the encouraging thing, these new models,
Yeah.
they're profitable.
Oh, okay.
They're attracting those conscious consumers, and it's proving that sustainability can actually be good for business.
That's great.
Yeah.
And, speaking of shifting perspectives, one of the sources you sent that I thought was really cool, Creative Wisdom Certification Program, which I thought was fascinating.
Yeah, they're really interesting. They focus on this concept of homo creativus.
Okay.
So it's like, how do we nurture this new generation of thinkers and doers, people who can approach these challenges with this more holistic, humanity-centered mindset?
So through design, essentially.
Absolutely, through design, exactly.
Wow.
And they focus on practical skills, obviously, but also like ethical considerations, systems thinking, understanding how these global challenges are all connected.
So it's like equipping designers with this whole new toolbox.
Exactly, a new way of thinking about it. And what's kind of cool, they're even using blockchain technology.
Oh, wow.
Like with NFTs.
Oh, okay.
So they're creating those digital certificates with NFTs.
Oh, that's so interesting. So it's NFTs, but for good.
Right, exactly.
I like that. Okay, so we've talked about the principles of this. We've seen companies actually doing it, but this feels bigger than just like one company or organization. So how do we actually take this thinking and scale it up to create change that really lasts?
That is the million-dollar question.
Yeah.
And that's where those 5 principles we talked about before, they become even more important.
Right.
We have to move past individual actions. Start thinking about designing systems, policies, even behaviors that are sustainable and equitable from the ground up.
So instead of just designing a better recycling bin, we're designing a system that encourages people to recycle in the first place.
Exactly. Or instead of just making appliances energy efficient, we're designing policies that make renewable energy the norm and discourage waste. It's about making sustainable choices the default.
Okay, yeah, that makes a lot of sense. But how do we even begin to shift those systems? They seem so stuck, so hard to change.
It can be. It's a big question.
Yeah.
But, even small changes, they can make a difference. You don't have to do everything at once.
Okay, so start small, but like think big.
Yes,
Yeah.
exactly. So look at your own life, where you work. Can you apply these principles?
Yeah.
Maybe it's choosing products from a company that's really committed to sustainability.
Right.
Or if you're at work, advocating for more inclusive design.
Yeah. And what about like supporting organizations that are doing this work? Like we were just talking about SOGLAB.
Yes.
Their Creative Wisdom Certification program. Like that seems like such a cool way to help people actually get the tools, get the knowledge to actually implement this stuff.
100%. We need to support these initiatives, these educational programs.
Yeah.
And honestly, just talking about this stuff.
Yeah.
Share what you're learning with your friends, family, at work. That makes a difference.
It changes the conversation, right?
Yes.
Instead of design being just this thing of like, oh, it looks nice or it's functional. It's like, no, design can actually be this force for good.
Exactly. And that's what I find so hopeful about this whole shift to humanity-centered design.
Yeah.
It reminds us we can actually design a better future.
Yeah.
We can make it more sustainable, more equitable, just more human.
I love that. Okay, so to wrap things up, it seems like we've definitely moved from this idea of human-centered design, which in its time was so revolutionary, to something even bigger, this humanity-centered design.
Yeah, it's evolution.
Yeah.
And, you know, there's always a long way to go.
Yeah, of course.
But I'm really hopeful.
Yeah.
The more people who get this, who use these principles, we can totally shift how we design, what we create.
Totally.
And make a world that works better for everyone.
I love that. Well, this has been honestly so eye-opening. Thank you so much for taking us on this deep dive with all this.
It's been my pleasure, honestly.
And for everyone listening, we really encourage you, go check out these sources yourself. You might be really surprised what you find. You might figure out ways to incorporate this kind of thinking into your own life.
Yeah, definitely.
Who knows? You might start a ripple effect of your own.